has my big jacket. I figure if I sit this way with my jacket, I'm going to be out of the wind because it's like super windy down here. Super windy at the beach. Anyone would think I'm like an Eskimo somewhere else in the world. But I wanted to come outside and do live stream today, so I am. So I wanted to speak about slipstreaming on other people's energetic processes, because like there's lots of things that I could talk about right now, but I really want to talk about my own process around doing that, because it feels like it's important. Because I said I was going to be me, so I'm going to start sharing me and my processes, and it fully feels like this tripod's going to blow over because of the wind. I can see it shaking there. All right, so if you guys have got any questions at any time, as always, please just ask away. So what I mean when like I say slipstreaming on energetic processes, it's like, when I first heard that terminology, I was a little bit confused in myself, because I'm like, what? Like, you know, but it, you know, is what Lois Rowley, my mentor, said to me. It's like, you know, when you get behind a truck, you know, when you're driving on the highway and the truck is, you know, like you get in the slipstream and it like pulls you along sort of thing. So like in that, it's like slipstreaming. You're so intrigued. I'm sitting next to the path too. There's a big people walking past. Oh well. So you're so intrigued, yeah. So basically, and it's got a lot to do with shadow work and all that sort of thing, but I guess it's just another way of looking at it, and it's really helped me to, like, I don't know if the word is detach or to help, I don't know, clear, or I don't know what you do. But anyway, this is what I've been working with in my processes lately, and I felt called to share it. So I'm here sharing it at the windy beach. And the thing that it is, it's like, okay, so when you're in relationship, and it can be anybody, so, you know, and I talk about getting triggered all the time, and, you know, like you'll only get triggered if you have resonance within you of what's going on within that person, right? Or why you got triggered and that sort of thing. So when, okay, I'm going to share from my own process because it's just going to be easier to explain it. So, and I was sharing the other day, you know, or yesterday about the eclipse and, you know, it like causing an emotional fucking mess, and, you know, I've been crying and all this sort of shit. Like, and I guess in a way, like I've been unconscious. I've been, you know, not owning my stuff around, you know, I guess what I've been feeling. I haven't, like it's weird. And I was just thinking that before I jumped on live stream. I'm like, I actually haven't really been owning my stuff, but how can you own your stuff if you're not conscious of it, right? Anyway, that's not a fucking excuse. That's just like, until you become conscious of the unconscious, it is unconscious, and that's what it is, right? So I guess the thing that I have been, okay, I almost titled this live stream, you know, like love and appreciation and acceptance is all anyone ever wants, right? Now, in relationship, especially if you're a sensitive, highly in tune, intuitive, empath, light worker, whatever the fuck label you want to put on it, you feel each other's stuff, right? You feel your partner's stuff, you feel your friend's stuff, you feel everybody's stuff, right? You feel it. Now, you will only get stuck and have resonance on particular things if it's got resonance within you, right? And I say this all the time. Now, the thing is with that is like, it's almost like a, I don't know if you want to call it like a calling card or a beacon or something like that, so that when you kind of eventually become conscious of what's going on, sometimes as an empath and an intuitive, sensitive person, we pick up things that not other people do, right? We highly intuitive and sensitive, and we pick up stuff that people aren't even conscious of, right? And I guess as a healer, as what I do for work to help you guys, is I make the conscious unconscious, right? So sometimes in relationship, it's like you can pick up things with your partner, or, you know, if it's a work or a business relationship or a child or something, it's like, you know, you pick up stuff before they're even conscious of it. Or as Deanna so gratefully, you know, shared the other day, and it made sense. She's like, oh, well, that's like when, you know, her daughter walks up to her and says, are you angry at me? And she's like, no. Like, you know, and then the kid walks away confused because they feel that, and then they get told something different, and then they're confused. So in a relationship with any sort of person, whether it's your partner or business relationship or anything like that, it's like you can, you know, like you might feel something, you might say it, and then you'll get told otherwise, and you like get confused in yourself, right? Now, it's not about blaming the other person or anything like that, but sometimes, you know, as an intuitive person, you just sense a lot more things than they're even conscious of, right? And that's in the general society too, right? That's why we're intuitive people. We pick up stuff, right? We sense a lot of things. So differentiating between that, it's kind of like when you become aware of that sometimes you're picking up a lot of stuff that person's not even conscious of, then you can kind of go, oh, okay. And it's kind of like if you bring it to the table and, you know, it might cause disagreements, or you might get fingers pointed at you or anything like that, because ultimately, you know, one, that person might not be conscious of what you're saying. Two, they're not ready or willing to face it or own it or even think that there's a problem because they're not conscious of it, right? But when you, as an intuitive light worker, healer, whatever word you want to put on that, when you sense those things, like, you know, and it takes practice, discipline, just like staying out of your head and in your heart takes practice, discipline, rah, rah. But when you can start to pick up those things and sense them, then what you can do is, this is where the slipstreaming is, right? Because if you're already sensing and picking up that, there's a resonance within you about that, right? It's the same as when you do any sort of healing work or you know, as a teacher of any sort, and you attract clients and students to you that, you know, like a good healer and teacher will always tell you that whatever students and clients you're attracting are what you've got to work on in yourself, right? You'll get the same client with the same issue, or like different clients with the same issue, and then when you heal that within you, you'll get different clients, you know, with different issues because you've healed that within you, right? Because every single person in your life is a reflection of you. So when you can, you know, like every single person that comes in, and you can look at that and go, oh yeah, like, you know, so whatever I'm intuitively picking up there, okay, well, where's that resonance for me? And, you know, if I'm picking that up and that, and it's kind of like, it's not about blaming the other person because they've got that in there. It's not about blaming the other person because they're not even aware of that's what's going on. You're the conscious one. You're the intuitive one. You're the sensitive person for a reason. And it's like you have, you know, should have the tools to be able to, you know, work through that in yourself. So when you can, you know, I guess what's the words, like pick that up off the table and, you know, you're noticing it, you feel it. It could be affecting, you know, that particular relationship that's going on for you. And then when you can actually take that within yourself and sit with that in you, and when, as I teach, you know, when you sit with any sort of emotion or feeling with your heart space, or if you do a shadow meditation or anything like that, usually memories will come back about an old past situation or relationship from your past that's triggering and playing out in the current, right? That's how this energetic stuff works. Yeah, we attract the same situations all the time until we're able to actually take what, you know, the core is to change that and then shift our vibration. So slipstreaming on somebody else's energetic process is about being conscious of, you know, what's in the space between you guys. And, you know, and sometimes that takes a little bit to understand and even get used to, and, you know, and then it's like learning to walk, right? You'll start to walk and you might fall over, and then you walk a couple of steps and then you might fall over again, and then eventually you learn to walk and eventually you can run, okay? So, you know, be gentle on yourself when you're learning to, you know, I guess take ownership of your stuff and even, you know, do that in yourself. And, you know, and the thing is, when we're doing that, and the theme that I'm getting for a lot of people today and kind of this week is resentment. What is it? Resentment, like sadness and disappointment as well. And a lot of, what's the word? Okay, so I don't know what the word is, but I'm coming to mind about choices. No, it's something else. I didn't want to fucking talk about it, and it's coming to my mind to talk about it. I didn't want to fucking talk about it. So I'm not sure if you guys heard or not. commented on my last live stream that Doreen Virtue is changed to Christianity. I have nothing against Christianity, or any religion for that matter of fact, because as far as I know, as far as I'm concerned, like, all religions lead to the one and same only God, you know, and it's the same as racism, you know. It's just like, you know, if you have an issue between black and white or what other people's choices are, ultimately it's, you know, if you've got a judgment around what other people are choosing, that's something that you need to look at too, because, okay, there we go, it's about control. So the other thing that's been coming up this week strongly is about control. So when we step out of our heart, and I've also had a lot of contact with a lot of light workers that say they've been stuck in their head, they haven't been able to get out of their head, their mind in head is just going fucking crazy. And I even said this in my private live stream training group this morning, that there's been so many, you know, like for quite some time, a lot of us light workers have been in our heart and been able to hold that vibration and stay there through some heavy shit. And then since the eclipse, or around the eclipse, we're kind of like all back in our head and just driving ourselves fucking crazy, and trying to figure out, you know, like why or what, all that sort of thing. And this is where the resonance, you know, for that slipstreaming, it's kind of like whoever's in your life and whoever you've got the issues with in your life, you know, like see what the core, you know, I guess resonance is, right? Whether it's resentment, jealousy, anger, abandonment, sadness, disappointment, you know, like kind of pinpoint what that is, and then like take that and sit with it in your heart or in your body. Like, where is it sitting in your body, right? Okay, we can do this now. So I wasn't planning on doing a process with you guys, but I am. So whatever situation is going on in your life, bring it to your conscious awareness, right? And how it makes you feel, right? So if it's like, it's a situation or whatever, like where do you feel that in your body, right? Now just kind of like relax your mind, drop out of your head and drop into your body, like wherever you feel that in your body. And then take your heart and expand your heart where that feeling is, yeah? Like expand your heart where that feeling is in your body. And breathe deeply. And if you start thinking about things again, relax your mind, like consciously tell your mind to relax. And just stay with that feeling and keep expanding your heart with the feeling. Now you might have other memories come to mind or a past situation come to mind, because whatever's going on in your current is just the band-aid. And underneath that band-aid is the core of where it's stemming from. And it feels like since the eclipse, it's almost like whatever's being covered up is not being covered up anymore, but it's playing out with the current. Yeah, it's like the eclipse kind of covers what's in front, but it's what's behind that's going on, yeah? So if you stay with that feeling until it shifts. So when you can consciously relax your mind and stay in your feeling body, then stay with that until it shifts, yeah? Wondering if anyone wants to share anything that's come up for them, or if they've got questions about it or anything like that. Because when you can sit with it consciously, and it takes practice, discipline, you know, there's a lot in that. When you can sit with it consciously and get kind of, I guess, the deeper understanding of what's going on, it usually shifts a lot quicker, because you realize that it's not about the current situation and it's actually about this other old thing that's come to light and to surface, and you're able to kind of shift that, and then the situation resolves itself that's going on. Solar plexus, yeah. Yeah, thanks, Amy. I felt called to do it because I've had clients today, and then I've had the live stream training in the private group as well, and it was all the same theme. I've had it myself, and I'm like, okay, I think I just got to share my process. Yeah. So yeah, just stay with the feeling, and sometimes that can be tricky, you know, it might jump back up in our head and we might get another memory or another past situation, and that's fine, but then relax the mind again, take it back to that, you know, that feeling, and just kind of sit with the feeling until it shifts, because the feelings are just energy, and they do eventually shift. And when we can sit with them consciously like that, it's it shifts it, right? Because we'll only get stuck on it and replay that over and over and over when we're not consciously feeling it, when we're stuck in here and trying to figure it out, which never fucking works, right? Because this always comes from right and wrong, whereas this just comes from complete acceptance of what is. So expanding the heart into that space. Does anyone have any questions or want to share anything? Because I feel like that's what I needed to come on live stream and say today. Yeah, it does take a bit, Debbie, for sure. You know, like it's a practice thing and a discipline, and, you know, and I think that the biggest thing about it is that, you know, like the current situation that's going on in your life is real, it's valid. Like, it's not that it's not, but it's like making sure that when we can know that what's going on currently is a reflection of what's sitting underneath, and when we can kind of just put that aside, like let's just put the top current situation aside for the moment, like let's just put it over here and let's just kind of like drop into this feeling, right? So I'm going to work with abandonment. So say the feeling is abandonment. We feel abandoned in the relationship, right? So if we remove the current situation and the current relationship, we're just going to put that over here. I'm going to drop into the feeling of abandonment, right? And it's kind of like not going, oh, I'm going to feel abandonment now. It's kind of like, no, think about the current situation. You feel like shit for it because this fucking happened, and that's where I feel it in my body. And then it's kind of like, okay, well, this is how I feel. And it's kind of like, okay, remove yourself from this relationship and just feel what it feels like. And it's like, you know, well, where else has that come up? You know, like, just kind of sit with it, because you don't even need to think about it. When you sit with it, then the other stuff comes up, and we can keep jumping up. It's like, hey, relax the mind. Like, put post-it notes up around your house saying, relax the mind, right? Relax the mind, relax the mind. Breathe. Relax your mind, relax your mind. Yeah, so much past life stuff, Amy. So much, yeah? So much past life stuff. It's what I wrote about yesterday in the, you know, for the half price tarot readings, which, by the way, there's only a few days left. If you haven't got a half price tarot reading, you want to grab them now. I'll post a link in the comments for that, because there's only a couple of days left to get that. It's the full big readings. It's audio recorded, so you can keep it and listen to it over and over. But yeah, so much past life stuff in like soul connections. So, you know, like specifically what I'm talking about, I guess, with my own process is like, you know, it's like you've got your current reality and what's playing out, and then what's underneath it is like, you know, all the old soul connections. And I've also had confirmation, like old pex lovers, ex-lovers coming back into your life, contacting, you know, ex-relationships, past people, you know, and these are all not only from current lifetime past, you know, dynamics that we're shifting out of and patterns, but it's also from, you know, past lives. Yeah, so these people that are coming up in your life now also have all these past life connections in the karma and the threads. You know, like I've had so many past life memories come up that have just been fucking ridiculously mirroring what's going on right now. And it's kind of like having these past life memories is like the keys. It's like, oh, that's why this is playing out, and for fuck's sake, that's why that's happening, and for fuck, man, like just like one after the other. It's like, oh, it's like all this past life karma is getting balanced out. And it's kind of like the biggest message I was getting this morning was like, don't make any rash decisions, don't make any you know, like massive life change choices. Like, do your inner fucking work and let the rest unfold itself, because that's ultimately what any sort of relationship is about. And calling in your soulmate is open now. The early bird is open. On the 21st of September we start. I'll post a link in the comments, because this stuff and how to do this stuff in step-by-step order that you have lifetime access to, that you can go back to anytime you fucking need me, is all in calling in your soulmate. Exactly what I'm teaching you is all in there, because this is relationship stuff, you know, and learning how to understand the past life karma and how that's playing out in your current relationship, what to do about it, all of that. It's all in calling in your soulmate. I've pretty much just taken you through a process that's in calling in your soulmate. Obviously, I'm a bit more kind of structured and detailed in there. Than the live stream, although this will help. Oh, this is annoying me. Okay. So yeah, so does anyone have any more questions about anything to do with that? I was like holding the tripod because it feels like it's going to blow away, but now it's all crooked or something. I was sinking into the sand. Just wait and see if any more questions come up. But yeah, it is a practice and a discipline, Debbie, for sure. And the first thing with that too, like it's a practice, it's a discipline, it's tricky. Like I said, it's like kindergarten and learning to walk, before you can run and all that sort of thing. It's also like your intention. Yeah, if you're coming with the intention of healing and love, not from a space of control, it's very different, right? When we're coming from a space of control, in controlling the other person's reactions, controlling the situation, wanting to control the outcome, that's where the expectations and attachments come in, and that's where we will fall. That is where we will absolutely fall. That's where we will lose our minds, basically, if we're coming from that sort of space. So definitely coming from heart space, like your intention, your intention to heal not only the situation but yourself, and to shift patterns. I'm going to get smacked on by a dog in a second. Oh my God, he's like, okay, cool. It's going to come. This is like bolting up the beach. Oh, you can see. And there's the forgiveness that comes in. You're so welcome, Amy. I'm so glad it's helped you. Yeah, I'm so glad I just kind of was being myself and trusted that I needed to share my process. So I will just keep doing that, hey? That dog was definite confirmation. No, it just like there's no other dogs on the beach. It just came bolting all the way up here. Is rose quartz in the liquid crystals, which is forgiveness. So it actually came up in my personal reading last night. I did myself a personal reading because I've been doing so many readings for everyone. I'm like, why don't I pull myself some cards? So I did. And forgiveness was the main one. So forgiveness of self for like going unconscious, and forgiveness of self that, like without the unconscious. Okay, here we go. This is the final message. Without the unconscious, we cannot become conscious. Without the darkness, we cannot become light. Without, going there, we can't take the light there. And again, what's coming to mind, which I didn't want to speak about, is the whole thing about Doreen Virtue and how she's flicked over to Christianity, which I have no judgment about. However, for me, darkness and light coexist for a reason, like I shared something the other day actually on Facebook or last week or something about Lucifer falling or something. I'll share it again. And it's like Lucifer's light was so bright, Lucifer's the devil or one of the devils, I don't know, was one of them. And, like Lucifer's light was so bright, he had to cloak himself in a cloak of darkness to not blind the others. And ultimately, all evil, all darkness has light within them. And the only thing that we fear is the light, because ultimately the darkness is the light. Like if you think that you see a spirit or a dark evil demon or something like that, you just need to look for the light in them. There is no fear about them, and I actually have so much respect for them. I have so much, I don't hang out with them, but I teach this in Trust to Intuition. I teach this in the Clearing Energy Blueprint. It's not that you hang out with them, but I have so much respect for them because they're there to turn us towards the light. If you have a demon or a spirit, an entity attached to you, there's something in your life that is taking you off path, and they are there turning you back towards your path and your light. So, I have massive respect for them because they've had to come into the darkness and be the dark for us to turn back to the light. Ultimately, they're working for the light. They want us light workers on path, and they're there for a reason. So if you've got any questions about that, please let me know. But ultimately, forgiveness of self for going unconscious, because the darkness is only unconscious. Evil demons and spirits and all of that is simply your unconsciousness of the light. All it is. All it is. So thanks for joining me on this live stream. I'll post a link in the comments to the half price tarot readings. There's only a few days left for that, and Calling in Your Soulmate early bird doors are open. If you really want to dig deep, Calling in Your Soulmate is the one for you. I will post a link in the comments because early bird is open now. We start on the 21st September, which is creeping up very quickly. So thank you all for joining me. Have a beautiful evening. Keep it real. Forgive yourself. Lots of love. Namaste.